The death penalty tends to be a topic which a lot of people get up in arms about because it's a very emotional topic, and understandably so. It's about the life and death of another person, so obviously there is some kind of squabble of whether killing someone is the ethical choice or whether it's the unethical choice, and it's understandably so one that many people get into arguments with. I've heard people lose their mind over the idea that I myself could be against the death penalty, as I know a lot of shitty people in the world, that they would feel as if I would deserve to die. Now, my opinion on killing people has been pretty much written in stone throughout, that I think killing someone is just wrong entirely. However, do I think that killing someone under a specific circumstance could be used for good? Yes. I think you could kill someone for a perfectly legitimate reason and not be labelled as a monster or not be labelled as someone who needs to be put in prison. Police officers kill all the time, and sometimes for a very good reason. Let's say if a police officer got a gun pulled on them, or they were put in a situation of life and death, they deserve the right to end that person's life under self-defense if it comes to that point. If they find no other alternative other than we need to kill this guy, then yes, if you're driven to the point, yes, you do deserve to do that. Just like if someone came into your house and you had adequate protection like a gun or a knife or anything that could be lethal, and they were putting you in a situation where you must need to do it, I think it's fair. I think it's completely fair to do that in that type of certain situation. Because if you don't, you could be the victim. You could be the one that could end up having a death toll, and that person being a person with a higher death toll. And what I meant to say was not that the victim would have a death toll, but that the criminal would have the death toll, a bigger death toll than if he were to die. Now, having a murder on your hands can be quite a harrowing situation. However, being murdered is permanent. Just like the trauma that might ensue. However, being alive and being dead, to some, people would choose life. It's a far more alternative than allowing someone to kill you. If you care about your life and cherish it so much, and someone's jeopardizing that, then you deserve the right to protect yourself. It's ruled under self-defense, and I would encourage that if I knew someone who was a murderer, but for that reason. If someone was a murderer, like Jeffrey Dahmer, Harold Shipman, or really anyone, I would be against that, because they're killing for an unethical reason. They're doing it for their own satisfaction. They're the people that should be killed under self-defense. If someone came into your house and tried to inject you with an opiate, or someone came into your house and tried to kill you with a knife or a gun, or try to strangle you, then I think you should deserve to protect yourself if there's no other alternative. However, if they're in prison and in bars, then you don't really have that choice. And that's something to bring up, is that a lot of people tend to question, well, wouldn't the death penalty fall under the category of, self-defense? And you know what, I would personally disagree. Along with that, I think hitting someone's wrong. I think it's wrong to hit someone. However, let's say you need to hit someone. Let's say someone's trying to mug or rape you, then it would be a good instance to utilize self-defense. Maybe not hitting, but, self-defense can fall under that. However, if you're a black belt, you don't have to resort to that. If you're someone who's trained, you don't have to resort to that. Everyday average citizens do need to do that, because some of them don't have that type of training and would have to prevent themselves from being raped or murdered by kicking them in the groin, or if it's a female, kicking her in a vag, or if it's universal, punch them in the face. If you're in karate, then attack them by any other means that wouldn't necessarily hurt them but give you enough time to protect yourself, and if you know the person, you get them incarcerated, which would be a win-win for everyone. Now, would I say killing someone is the right thing to do? I would not say it's the right thing to do. I would say it's the bad thing to do if you have no ethical reason. This is why we don't like murderers, to an extent. There are certain murderers who can kill for an ethical reason. This is why police officers are normally worshipped, and why people in the army are worshipped. Maybe not everyone will support the troops or police officers, but we can all agree that in a day-to-day society, whether or not you agree with society, yeah, they do tend to be worshipped, and they do tend to be, heroized and viewed as great people just for doing that. However, I think when it comes to killing, really, when there's no way for them to escape, when they're stuck in prison, a high ground prison where there's no way to escape, do you really want to support it if a prisoner kills another one, or if a police officer puts them down by, either injection or poison, which would fall under the same category? Would you think it's okay for them to, shoot them, put them down, by any means necessary? I wouldn't think so, unless that person were to cause a prison riot, or if you did need to put them down. And I know that's a very controversial opinion. I know not everyone will agree with me, and that's fine. I don't mind if you disagree with me on this. I understand it's a very emotional thing, and a lot of people may try to persuade me emotionally by saying, what if someone hurt your family member? What if you knew a person, maybe in the mafia, maybe just an average day, everyday criminal, that came and just murdered them in cold blood, and you knew that person and they were getting arrested? Wouldn't you want them dead? If not, wouldn't you want to be the person to do it? Now, to answer that question, would I want them dead if I first found out? Absolutely. So does everyone. When a family member is put in harm's way, you would want to hurt that person, because you would want to fucking hurt anyone that's an asshole. Let's say if you knew someone who was generally a mean person, wouldn't you want to hurt them? Absolutely. You would want to hurt them, and that's okay. However, we all have hard thoughts in our heads once we've dealt with grief. If you thought of yourself, if you knew someone who was a bad person, wouldn't you want to hurt them? Absolutely. You don't use that to manipulate someone into believing that it's an ethical choice at hand. I think it's wrong to view such a serious topic as the death penalty under the guise that, well, emotions, really. You don't persuade someone with emotions, you persuade them with logic. And you try to convince them through a logical side. The whole reason, to quote The Amazing Atheist just for a moment, I know some of my fan base doesn't like The Amazing Atheist, and I've criticised him before, but he brought up a very good point, which is the justice system without its blindfold, which is what it represents. The justice system has been defined through the lady wearing the blindfold. Without that blindfold, it's just proper vengeance. It's just your vengeance against another human being that you consider a bad person. I don't think it's a very good idea to view it in that type of sense. Because, while yes, emotions are important, they're what drive us as a human being. Why do we go out to eat? Why do we go out to have fun with our friends? Because it makes us feel happy. Why do we play video games? Because it makes us feel happy. We need these emotions in our life. Negative emotions. Why do you feel sad? Why do you want to end your life at times if you're suicidal or depressed? Because emotions are a very important thing, and they help us come up with decision making. And I'm not trying to rule it out in the death penalty. It's a very important factor in the emotions. However, do we determine everything on emotions? Do we always use emotions? No, sometimes a situation's best looked at unbiasedly and looked at without it. More importantly, bad people and criminals make us want to put bad into the world. When a good person comes out and puts good into the world, when someone's the next Martin Luther King, when someone does something just generally fucking kind-hearted, like maybe they save Africans, maybe they go out and just do even a day-to-day thing, maybe you just know someone out there that does good things in the world. They make you want to do good, and they make you want to be a better person in your day-to-day life, and they are influential. These are the people we should, follow in their footsteps. We don't want to follow in bad people's footsteps, no matter how influential they may be. Because, yes, if a murderer murders, They influence you to want to murder them. They make you want to murder them because they're manipulative people, and they make you so bad and so fucking heartbroken to know that someone could fucking kill anyone. It breaks people's fucking hearts just to know someone that's fucking evil and so malicious in their actions. So yes, good people and bad people are as equally influential as one another. However, I feel as if this can be dangerous because people might not want to be influenced by good people. There's a lot of people out there that do worship these types of people, and that's so fucked up. And, it really boils down to the fact that they're really manipulative. Don't fall under their guise and don't fall under their traps, no matter how tempting it may be. No matter how much you would want to murder them. Because at the end of the day, do you really want a justice system that works on emotions? And do you really want a justice system that is pretty much just as bad as these criminals? They act out to satisfy their own emotions and the emotions of others? Because I don't think so. I don't feel comfortable knowing that a government could kill me. I don't feel comfortable with the idea of that being legalized.